I think he's going to Australia now too, which he wasn't finding in Fight Neds. We even had a meeting and he said, Pablito, do you want me to stay in Brazil? Do you want me not to go? I said, damn, Rafal, I don't want it because I don't know what it is. I know that's not what's motivating you, man. I know that if you stay here, you won't have the joy, the motivation to train that you're having there. I saw Rufal training there with the joy that I hadn't seen in a long time. So I said, Rufal, go.
Yup. That is the ex-coach of Mauricio Ruffy, the number 14th ranked fighter in the UFC lightweight division. Pablo Sucapiria, who helped started the Fighting Nerds gym back in 2014 with Cal Baralio, who basically confirmed that Mauricio Ruffy will no longer be training with the Fighting Nerds or be part of the Fighting Nerds gym anymore, my friends. As Mauricio Ruffy decides to take his career and take his training elsewhere, specifically with Alexander Volkanovski, to prepare himself for another big opportunity fight, right? Coming off a fight with BSD, devastating loss, the number 8 ranked fighter in the lightweight division, and now has another opportunity to compete at UFC 325 taking place in Sydney, Australia, against Rafael Fiziev, the number 9th ranked fighter. And I want to give you guys my thoughts and my opinion on whether this is good or bad for the ex-fighting nerd, Mauricio Ruffy, my people. First of all,
Ruff is a guy who, damn, played a huge part in the formation of Fight Nerds. He's the one who brought Flavio Alvaro to the team. He, damn, implemented a lot of things in the team. A lot of people learned a lot from him, athletes. So what I told him was, Ruff,
this is pretty shocking, and as you heard from the coach, it sounds like he's coming from a sad perspective, right? He talks about him being very, very important to the gym, helping all these guys out with their striking, of course. I'm pretty sure he wasn't really helping them when it comes to the wrestling game. But it seems like the coach is sad. Now, Mauricio Ruffy, been training there since 2022 after his 6th professional mixed martial arts fight. Made his debut in the Dana White Contender Series, made his UFC debut with this team. And after suffering a loss to BSD, and also when you look at the Fighting Nerds as a whole, we've seen Cal Baralio go down to Imavov. We've seen Gene Silva go down to Diego Lopez, right? We've seen Carlos Prates go down to Ian Gary, and it seemed like for this year, it was just a tough year for the Fighting Nerds. Now, Mauricio Ruffy recently, the last couple weeks, has been training in Thailand with Alexander Volkanovski, with Israel and Sunye, just training with a lot of different gyms and a lot of different people, and a lot of, if you don't know this, a lot of people don't know, just opened up his own gym with Jan Oliveira. And it seems like Mauricio Ruffy, and exactly what the coach explains, seems to be a lot happier training around the world, traveling with different people around the world, okay? I think personally, Mauricio Ruffy, of course, UFC 325 is taking place in Sydney, Australia. So it's smart to go to Australia and get used to the weather, acclimate to the time, everything, right? This is a smart decision by him. Trust me, if they go back to Brazil, I am sure Mauricio Ruffy will be back with the Fighting Nerds, either to start with the training camp or to finish his training camp if he ever has a fight in Brazil. But we've heard Mauricio Ruffy bring up depression, bring up, times where he almost felt like killing himself. And it seems like maybe Mauricio Ruffy is just not one of these type of guys who can stay training with the same people all the time. Losses affect people sometimes mentally. They feel like I got to do something differently. Recently, Mauricio Ruffy's wrestling defense has looked absolutely horrible. He has great striking, but it's been his defense that has been his biggest deficit in his MMA career. And Maybe he sees that he's been training at this gym with these guys and it can't get much better. So he's deciding to himself, I need to move to a new gym. Now, I think it's a smart thing to do, okay? You know, Alexander Volkanovski likes to start some of his gyms in Thailand and then go over back into Australia to finish his gyms over there in his hometown gym. And in my opinion, Alexander Volkanovski, the way he trains, he's a goddamn dog. I think it'll only benefit Mauricio Ruffy with training with guys like this, right? We see a lot of videos of him on his Instagram training with Izzy Adesanya, training with Alexander Volkanovski. They're barbecuing together. They're looking like he's really, really happy with these guys. And the coach, Pablo, explained that he's never seen Mauricio Ruffy be this happy training at other gyms. And he completely understands. Of course, it's going to hurt. He was important to the fighting nerds. But I think, in my opinion, I think this is a great move for Mauricio Ruffy. Sometimes some gyms, some things you just can't get taught. And it takes somebody brave to be able to move on and look to do different things, because you never know how things are going to turn out. So coming from Mauricio Ruffy's standpoint and him talking about his depression and how his life was, I'm glad for him, bro. I'm glad for him, and I hope everything turns out to be successful. I hope going and training with Alexander Volkanovski, being around guys like Craig Jones, these guys can absolutely raise your game to another level, right? We've seen Craig Jones give Alexander Volkanovski a lot of tips. We've seen it, you know, sometimes work in a bad way. Sometimes guys are falling to their back because they're getting taught this jiu-jitsu way from Craig Jones, but we are going to see how it turns out. It's breaking news that Mauricio Ruffy has officially left the fighting nerds. That just makes it Carlos Prates, Cabrialeo, and Gene Silva as the top dogs. But it's also exciting news to see what Mauricio Ruffy is going to look like coming against Rafael Fiziev, a guy, in my opinion, who you don't really need to prepare the most for when it comes to the wrestling. He can mix it up. Don't get me wrong. Do not get me wrong. But Rafael Fiziev's main strong point is primarily striking. Mauricio Ruffy, we all know his main strong point. It is striking. This is going to be an absolutely exciting fight. And we are going to see with these moves in his career, leaving the fighting nerds, will it benefit him or will it not benefit him, my friends? Breaking news, Mauricio Ruffy is leaving the fighting nerds. Let's see how all this turns out. My man is standing with a record of 12-2-0. Should have been if he didn't lose to BSD, 13-1-0, undefeated in the UFC with a 4-fight win streak. Instead, he's on a 3-fight win streak, not including his Dana White Contender Series debut, and is coming off a loss against BSD, the number 8th ranked fighter in the lightweight division. Another big opportunity coming up. The number 9th ranked fighter, Rafael Fiziev, is next, and I think he's going to Australia. They may be in Thailand and finish their training camp in Australia, specifically because he is fighting in Australia. I do think he will be back at the fighting nerds, and I do not think this is the end of his training career with the fighting nerds. Someday they'll be back, my friends. It's gonna be exciting.